Hello everyone, it's World War II Studios going to be doing a Marine Corps gear video for Okinawa. So this is, it's not everything that you can wear for Okinawa, it's just going to be the stuff that I wore specifically to this reenactment I went to last weekend. So I'll try to point out everything. This is going to be a little more in-depth of a video. So I'm going to be pointing out lots of stuff that I have where I've got it from in specific. And then I'll also kind of give you some other places that you can get it from that are also good reproductions, or if it's better to buy original for that sort of stuff. I'm not an expert on everything Marine Corps, by no means at all, but I'm just going to pass along what I do know. If I do make any mistakes, feel free to correct me in the comments, but I'll do my best to make sure everything is as accurate as I can get it. I hope you enjoy this video, and let's get into it. All right, so first up is going to be the uniforms. So for Okinawa, you're mainly just going to be wearing P-41 uniforms for Marine Corps. This one is from SM Wholesale. They make pretty good reproduction. Other good places you could get them if you didn't want to go with them. I could also go with World War II Impressions. I believe their new run, they have a different, so this is more like a stamping on a pocket. On the pocket for the EGA, whereas the new run has more of like a printing on it. Something just to watch out for. It's not super noticeable for the most people, but if you are super into this stuff, you would notice that. But yeah, other than World War II Impressions, you could also go with like At the Front. They make a pretty good set of P-41s as well. And then for Okinawa, it was a little cooler, so you're going to need your M41 field jacket. Some people had M43 field jackets by this time. They weren't super common at the time, so I'm just going to go with the more basic one. A good rule of thumb in reenacting is just kind of go with the more basic stuff. You don't want to stand out too much. Obviously, you can stand out with a couple things, but you don't want to take everything super crazy. So this one is from At the Front. They make a very good reproduction in my opinion. And they also have a summer edition, I should say. It's in air quotes there, because those did not actually exist, but they just take the wool out. That way they're a little less hot, but that is not very accurate. I think it's just they can make them a little cheaper, honestly. But the regular At the Front ones, not the summer edition ones, are a pretty good jacket. There's many other places that make good jackets. I just like the I don't know, the material that they made it out of is gonna be better than what I've found with some other reproductions. And then you're gonna want your Marine trouser belt. I believe they got this from What Price Glory, if I remember right. I think they're actually the only one that makes this at the moment. I could be wrong on that, but I believe that they're the only one that makes a good reproduction. And then this, just for contrast, this is the Army belt of the time. So you're going with this one. It's a little different color, and it's got a different buckle on it as well. Not super noticeable, but a good thing to add to your impression. Next up is going to be footwear, or my boots. So you may have already noticed, these boots are roughouts. They are Army roughouts. These are not accurate for what I was doing. I should have had boondockers. I just don't have the money at the moment to buy boondockers. But these are At the Front roughouts, and then I've got original laces in there. And then pretty much no matter, well, I guess if you get roughouts or if you get boondockers, you just want to use snow seal or dubbing on them, just to keep all the water out and to make them look a lot more accurate to how they actually did, since they would put dubbing on them back in World War II. But yeah, if you can't afford to get boondockers, which I hope to very soon, you can get them from, I believe, At the Front, World War II Impressions, and SM Wholesale. I believe they all make them at the moment. And then you're going to need a pair of Marine leggings as well. These are a little different from the Army ones. You'll see the Army ones have twice as many eyelets, but the Marines had these last ones, because it's kind of a distinctive look whenever it's all laced up. And then obviously you've got the size markings and everything on the inside. I recommend getting originals for leggings at the moment. They're still cheap enough, and there's still a lot of them out there that it just makes sense, at least for me at the moment, to get originals. I believe there's a couple companies that make reproductions. I believe World War II impressions, but I'm not 100% sure. But I just use originals, and if you can find one in your right size, that would be perfect. You don't want them being too loose or obviously too tight, wouldn't be good either. These ones fit me pretty well, and I got them for about $15, which I've got a couple pairs, but they're pretty easy to find at the moment. If you can, I recommend getting original. Next up is going to be my helmet. So here you can kind of see. So we've got obviously the Marine Corps helmet cover, the camouflage helmet cover on there with the green side out, which they had for Okinawa. You'll see I do have a leather chin strap, the liner chin strap across the front. Not too many Marines had the liner chin strap across the front. If you'll see in photos, you do see a couple. Yeah, just kind of depended on the person. If you do want to put the liner chin strap across the front, just make sure it has the green earlier war buckle and not the black one. But yeah, this cover is from at the front, which you can see it's got little foliage slits in there as well, which is going to be accurate for the war. Believe it was mostly post-war when they started making the ones without the foliage slits, from my understanding of that. And then the liner itself is a reproduction. This is actually a Korean War liner originally. So it was produced, I believe, in, I think 1951, if I remember right. And then it was redone with J. Murray webbing in the liner. I redid it myself. But J. Murray does very good job with all this webbing. If you don't want to do the work yourself, he can do it all for you. I've had him do a couple of helmet liners, and they've all turned out very good. So I'd recommend him. And then on the shell itself, this one is a swivel bail, front seam. But if you can get a fixed bail, that would be even better. And then just for the straps as well, I just want to make sure that they are actual World War II ones and that they're not going to be like the OD7 green color from post-war. But that's going to be pretty much the helmet that I wore for most of the event. It's a little bit beat up. I try not to purposely beat up my gear too much. I'll let it sit in the sun or wash it down and stuff when I get it and spray it off. But I don't purposely try to shred it or anything like that, because just taking it to an event will do that. Next, we're heading on to the field gear a little bit more. So you can see right up there is my Marine Corps suspenders. Honestly, I wore them to this event and I kind of regretted it. They weren't super common. You'll see them in a variety of photos, but not certainly most Marines had them on. But yeah, honestly, they kind of cut into my shoulders a little bit at the event, and which, I mean, you can just adjust all that. I was carrying a machine gun as well as my M1, just because I got reassigned to a machine gun squad. But yeah, so you can wear those if you'd like. They're not my favorite thing in the world. You do see I do have a little bit of Blanco camouflage paint on there, because I do have the rest of my gear Blancoed up as well from a Peleliu event I went to a year ago, but it works for Okinawa as well. And then you're just going to want a bandolier or two or even three. The more ammo, the better. And then you can see I do have an M6 gas mask bag. And like I said, since I was an assistant machine gunner with an M1 as well, not super common, but so I did need a tool bag to kind of keep some spare parts for the machine gun in there. So I put that all in there, and it actually worked out pretty well. They keep my M41 field jacket in there during the day when it was a little bit warmer. But when you are using your M6, you just want to make sure that it is one of the World War II ones, and not anything later. So it just has this completely attached here. The later ones I have one like that. It just doesn't have this strap on here. It's just the clip. So that's an easy way to identify it. This one is an original. You can pick up reproductions of these pretty commonly, actually. But I like this original quite a bit, especially with it still being the OD3 color to match the rest of the gear. But OD6 was used during the war. And then you'll see my cartridge belt. This is an at the front cartridge belt that I've got covered in some camouflage paint. Works pretty well. There's quite a few places you can get a good cartridge belt at the moment. I like this at the front one quite a bit. Got it for a good deal from another reenactor a while ago, and it's held up very well for a lot of reenactments now. And then you will see I don't carry too much on my cartridge belt, but I do have my Jungle First Aid Kit right on the back. And you'll see there's a couple different variants. I'm not super good with all of them, but you can open them up and look at which stitching it is and figure out if you have an accurate one for World War II. Well, if I can open it. Anyways, you can look that up online, and there's some good documents to easily find it. I don't want to lead you in the wrong direction with that. But this one is also transitional one. You'll see it's actually got the khaki strap on the back, which is pretty cool. And then right underneath that, I have my normal first aid kit. And then you can see my first aid tin from in there as well. I usually actually keep my blank adapter parts in my Jungle First Aid Kit, and that way it's just something I can put in there at the beginning of the event and then kind of keep the kit closed for the whole event, and that way I'm not opening it and showing that I don't actually have all the proper contents, but it's a nice spot to keep it in there and then out of the way for the rest of the event. But yeah, you'll see lots of Marines with Jungle First Aid Kit still on Okinawa, but not every single one had it. And then for canteen covers and canteens, at this point in the war, they did have pretty much all the canteen covers. So you had P1, P2, and P3, which would have been the cross-strap ones, which I could bring down and show you one in a second. But yeah, so you can see I've got one of the lift-the-dot ones and then one of the snap-close ones yet. At this point, which me in specific, I was just carrying what I had in Peleliu and then reused it again for Okinawa. And then for the canteens themselves, these silver top ones, the World War I type, these are both 1917 ones. But yeah, these are still good to use. Or you could use the World War II ones with the black flat top. All right, so I grabbed some of the other stuff I want to show you. So this would be the next generation of Marine Corps canteen cover. You've probably seen it before. It's pretty cool looking, but I wanted to stick with my already camouflage stuff. All these canteen covers, I'm pretty sure I got them from World War II Impressions. I don't remember, to be honest, which place I got them from, but World War II Impressions makes a good set. But yeah, so for canteens themselves, so this would be the earlier World War II style. I can see it's just completely flat, but I just have that black lid. And then this would be the later one where it's divoted on the inside there, which actually I believe this one is 1943. So I guess it would work for Okinawa by this point. But if you can find these are even better. But yeah, some Marines also would have carried the Army style of canteen cover like this. So honestly, you've got a whole bunch of options for canteen covers. But I like the look of these. But yeah, that's what I went with. You can get canteen covers from most reproduction places. I think at the front would probably be a good place to go. But or if you can get an original, there's still lots of original for the Army ones out there. The Marine Corps ones are a little more hard to come across at this point. And there's tons of canteens out there. It's a big rabbit hole you can go down if you have tons of time and tons of money. But we will keep moving on. All right, moving on. Now we are on the haversack, and then some e-tools with it as well. So first up is going to be the poncho. This one is a World War II I believe 1944 dated poncho. The later war and post-war ones would have a extra eyelet on the end. It'd be right on, all the way on the end. It's just like a little hole in the edge of the poncho. That way you could tie it down to something. But they did not have that at that time. If you get a original World War II one, they're usually pretty crunchy, as you can hear, which is kind of annoying, but there are a couple ways out there to make them a little bit better. Honestly, just soaking it in hot water seems to help quite a bit, but yeah, there's some other ways you can look up online. And then onto the haversack. So you can see here, I've got mine blancoed as well. This is what or how I wore it to the event. So I did have my poncho rolled up and then kind of tucked in under the flap here. But yeah, so it's painted to match the rest of my gear, just to break up the tan color and not be such a big target. I took my pickmatics along just because no one else in our squad had a pickaxe, and I didn't want to bring another shovel if everyone already had one. So I brought the pickaxe. This cover is actually an original. I believe it is a Marine Corps Depot cover, just because it has the square buckle, and then it does not have any U.S. marking up top there. That's my understanding of how that all works. And then the pickaxe itself is going to be just a little bit post-war, but it works great for this sort of event, where I don't mind beating it up a whole ton. And then I've got my bayonet on the side for my M1. So this is an original World War II sheath on here, and then the bayonet itself is going to be a made on U.S. machine bayonet that we sent over, I believe, to Greece after the war. So it wasn't used by U.S. troops during the war, but it looks identical except for a little stamp on the blade. And then, yeah, so the pack itself, this is an at the front reproduction one. I really like this packet. It's handled very well over the past couple events I've used it for. And honestly, it was used by another reenactor before that. And yeah, it no rips or nothing on it. There are a couple places you can get them. I do recommend the at the front ones though, especially for this style. There's some other earlier style haversacks, which I don't believe at the front makes at this time. But then for other e-tools, these are kind of couple of your other options for this time of the war. So since it is late war, they did have the folding shovel by now. So this would be good for Okinawa or Iwo Jima. Yeah, I like these folding shovels a lot better than the T-handles, as I think most of the troops did at the time. And then I've got my transitional cover on there. And then this would be what I carried at the last event, the Peleliu event. But yeah, T-handle shovel. Not my favorite thing in the world, especially if I can get my hands on a folding shovel. But it still works. It does the job. And then I've got that one painted up as well, as you can see. And then it's just an at the front shovel in there, which I've broken a couple of those at the front shovels. But they're cheap enough where I can just replace them. Or you could also carry a machete. They're very good for if you're going through some real dense stuff, you can use the machete and chop it up. This is an original machete sheath, and then the machete itself, I believe the blade is original, but then it has a plastic handle put on there, which is kind of annoying because it doesn't look super great. I believe I got that from What Price Glory for a pretty good deal at least. But so that's kind of that stuff. Lastly, I'm just going to go over some of my pocket items, and that'll be everything. And lastly, we're going to go into some of my, I guess, pocket items and stuff I keep in my haversack. I try to keep it pretty light, especially for Marine Corps on these sorts of events. Obviously, you want to take stuff that they would have carried, because you don't want to think of it as you're just out there for 2 days. But you want to keep stuff accurate. but also you don't want to be carrying tons of extra junk that they wouldn't have really carried and that you don't need. So this is mostly what I had. I guess I don't have my socks out here, but I carried 2 extra pairs of socks. And then I also don't have my like rifle cleaning bore and oiler, as I kept them in my stock of my rifle. But yeah, so ration wise, so I've got a D ration. I had 2 D rations. I think I threw the other one away already. But yeah, they're very good. Well, I like them at least. Lots of people, lots of veterans didn't seem too fond of them from what I've heard. But I think they're pretty good with the original recipe. They keep you awake at least. And then K ration wise, they gave us these K rations at the event, and then this would be the earlier war style of K ration, and then they switched to these later in the war to boost morale with the color printing on there. These are honestly probably the best reproduction K rations probably ever made, to be honest. Yeah, they did a fantastic job recreating these K rations. Which honestly I haven't opened this one yet, so I might do an opening video with that later. But these 2 I ate through and then just saved the boxes because they look so good. Yeah, they actually taste pretty nasty, so they are pretty accurate. But yeah, so those are the K rations I had in my pack. It would be a grenade canister up here. I didn't actually carry this at the event, but it's just a good thing to keep like extra socks in your pack. I didn't end up needing it because I kept most of my stuff in my waterproof bag, but it's good to have one of those if you can find one. But yeah, talking about a waterproof bag or your jungle food bag. So I keep my copy of God's Word in there. Obviously always very good to have, especially if you have a bit of downtime to catch up. Keep a deck of cards in there as well. Didn't end up using it, I guess either time, but if you have a little bit of time, it's nice to have. These are from my grandpa, but yeah, they're nice old set of cards. And then some stationery, Marine Corps stationery to write on, and then send that home in a V-mail. And then I have my hunting license. I saw this in a museum, actually, and then had it copied by one of my friends. Did a very good job copying it, so I carried that at the event. And then I just take a spoon. I don't take a fork or knife or mess tin at all. Most Marines just carried the spoon and ate right out of the canteen cup. So that's what I did, and it works out pretty well, actually. And then we got Marine Corps dog tags, and then my toothbrush to clean my rifle, and then for the 1919 as well. And then I've got a little bit of rifle cleaner there as well. And then I always like to take an extra pair of legging laces and shoelaces or boondocker laces along, and just in case I break anything, I have an extra pair already ready to go. And then I just keep my toiletries wrapped up in a little towel, and then I tie it up with the extra shoelace. So I've got toothbrush and shaving stuff all right in there. That works pretty well, and it doesn't take up much space at all. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it all the way through that video. I know it was a little longer. I just wanted to do a little in-depth, but there is going to be a reel with all the gear on, and that way you can see what it looks like on. But yeah, I've got more videos coming out here soon. Let me know if there's anything specific you want to see. I'd like to do kind of a room tour of everything behind me. It might take a couple of videos to go over it all because I don't want it to be a couple-hour long video. And then I have some smaller videos coming out here soon as well. But it's good to see you all back, and I hope you have a great day.